Yeah, see what I mean?
Well, that clears it up. Now everybody will know who's talking when.
Well, I could talk like this if you wanted.
That would be good. That's Walter, and Donald sounds like this.
Hi, how you doing?
All right, let me. First of all, you were on Prodigy Chat. Did you steal all the good questions from me, like I asked you?
No, that was just really a dry run for this,
Oh, is that it?
So, yeah.
With the questions, I hope mine are better.
We were just honing our material,
Let's talk about touring. I mean, this is Steely Dan holds many unique places in the world of music, and one of the unique things about you guys, I mean, in a business where you're supposed to release an album and then tour behind it, you guys did a tour around the time of your first album, around 1973, and then the next time you went out on the road was 20 years and how many albums later? Why was that? Why did you guys never ever go out?
Very simple. We forgot to tour, Some people forget to have children, and we forgot to tour.
Just forgot. How much heat did you get from the record companies? I mean, like I said,
I would say about 103 in the shade.
Yeah, it was hot. You know what it was? We realized early on, we did a couple of tours, and we discovered that you couldn't be touring and recording at the same time. You couldn't be touring and writing songs, or at least we couldn't. And so
you couldn't be touring and recording good songs.
Right. So we decided that we were going to, optimize our, ability to make records and write songs, and just not go out and tour.
And because of it, I mean, because you didn't tour, this kind of mystique surrounded the band, because people didn't get a chance to see you. You weren't on television. You didn't do videos. You weren't on the road. So were you aware of the fact that this mystery was growing about the band?
Yeah, well, what's that all about? That whole mystique thing?
That's what I'm asking you. Are you going to interview me?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you.
All right. Well, I think what the mystique is about is what I just said. People are so used to seeing bands that they love, records that they buy, records that they become familiar with, performed by people, that as years and years and years and years went by, and people like grew up and got married and had kids, and they still never even saw you, a mystique arrived.
Yeah, I think it was really, in some sense, hubris on our part, because around the time when we, put out our first album and our second album, the Beatles, had stopped touring. And, we really admired them, and we admired these great albums they started putting out, like Rubber Soul, and we realized, these guys were like ensconced in a studio and, really like getting down to detail.
Makes perfect sense, Donald.
And so we thought, hey, we have to do that too, should do that too.
And then after we hadn't toured for a while, it got to be like, it was such a big deal to start doing it again that we were kind of psyched ourselves out, right? Because we thought, well, if we're going to do this after 4 years or 5 years, it's going to have to be this, or it's going to have to be that, and it have to be something beyond what we could ever hope to deliver. So we just never did it.
And we didn't have a band anymore.
Had no band anymore, We were stuck.
And then when you finally decide to work together again, voila, it's a live album, which is even weirder to me. And then on the live album, Alive in America, which, by the way, I think is released actually today, you include Bodhisattva, which is probably the only live track that's ever been released before. Let's hear it for Bodhisattva.
A lot of Buddhists out in the audience tonight, I guess.
The B-side of Hey 19, redone on the new Alive in America CD. So we're going to listen to it, and then you can tell me about Bodhisattva, okay?
All right.
Let's listen to Steely Dan. This is from Alive in America. This is Bodhisattva. And we'll be right back with Walter and Donald. Now that's a big finish, Donald.
It's a big finish.
Bodhisattva, that's from Live in America, out today. And we're here with Donald Fagen and Walter Becker, live in New York City. We're playing that off the CD. We're going to play a few more tunes off the CD, but later on in this broadcast, Steely Dan and the Millennium All-Stars, right? Millennium All-Stars.
Steely Dan Millennium, or Donald Fagen, Walter Becker, and the Steely Dan Millennium All-Stars.
Okay, unless it changes between now and the time they do the live set. But a nice live set coming up later in this broadcast. While the record was playing, Walter asked me if he and Donald can pick girls out from the audience when we're all done tonight. And the answer is yes. Checked it out with the producers. However, they told me it must be within the first 3 rows.
Have to be in the first 3 rows.
First
all right.
3 rows. Right?
So be it then.
Okay. Now let's talk about you got Bodhisattva on the new live collection. Now you guys went out, did about 20 tours or so, about 20 shows in '93, and then you went out again in '94 and you did a bunch of shows. So how did you determine what songs made the CD? Would it be a double CD? I mean, there must have been an awful lot of material from 35 or 40 shows.
Yeah, there was, and we recorded about 80% of the shows, and Roger Nichols, our longtime engineer, did a great job on the recording, and there was a lot of takes to choose from, and we listened to everything, and I think that's one of the reasons the album came out as well as it did, because usually a live album might be recorded in 1 or 2 nights, and in this case I had a lot of stuff to choose from,
But speaking about Roger Nichols and something I read, I think, in an interview with Musician Magazine, Roger said, so I asked Donald if he thought the performances would be good enough for a live album. He said, I think if we just replace all of my vocals, fix some guitar solos, replace the horns, punch in the bass, redo the drums, record the background vocals over, and work on the piano tracks a little, we might be able to use some of it.
Well, the funny thing is we really didn't replace anything, as it turns out, except we did use the audience from a different year.
But how about
it's a high tech,
Is there some overdubbing or fixing up or?
Yeah, we did a little patching because when live, sometimes the band can't hear so well. There's little flaws, there's technical flaws. Mm-hmm. So we did a little patching up, but essentially you're hearing a live performance.
Well, it's a stunning album, as the people listening to us all across the country are hearing tonight. And I'm so glad personally that you put Kid Charlemagne on the album, because this has long been a favorite song of mine. Maybe because I go back long enough to know what was going on, to know what the name Owsley meant. Now, is the song specifically about Owsley, who was the kind of acid king in California, or was it a more generic look at people in that business back then?
It was, there were any number of guys who were basically doing the same sort of thing, and this could as easily have been about one as the other. But it was really a character that we made up, kind of based on various stories we'd heard.
Well, to me, it's like a little movie, like a lot of your songs are, but this one particularly, to me, is a movie. It opens, and it has a story, and it ends.
Yeah, I think we saw it as a kind of elegy for the 60s, really, essentially.
It's a great song, and it's originally done, I believe, on the Royal Scam studio CD. Now part of the live album, Alive in America. Let's listen to Steely Dan. This is the new version, just out today, of Kid Charlemagne.
Could you see the day? Could you feel your whole world?
finished. Yeah, that was Kid Charlemagne from Alive in America, the CD. You're listening to Alive in America, the radio broadcast. We're on the Album Network. And remember, later on in this broadcast, a beautiful set of live music performed, not off the CD, but live on this very stage that I am sitting on. And we'll be right back in just a few minutes with Walter Becker and Donald Fagen. Stay with us. Welcome back to Steely Dan, Alive in America, the radio special. I'm Dave Herman. We are live in New York City. We've been talking with Walter Becker and Donald Fagen, and we are just moments away from an historical live performance from Steely Dan right here on this stage at Manhattan Center Studios. But first, we want to just spend another few minutes talking with Donald and Walter. You know, it kind of like begs the question as to why you're even doing this tonight. Steely Dan strikes me, and you guys strike me as guys who like pretty much were in control of the record-making process and probably album covers. We'll talk about that in a minute. You know, even with the live album, you told me that you went out on a lot of shows to be sure the stuff was right. Yet tonight you're going to perform in a few minutes on this stage without a net, live on the radio. Once it's out there, it's out there. Does this worry you at all?
Well, we're controlling all of these people here and all the band members and everyone in the audience here tonight. That's all.
No, but it strikes me as kind of a brave thing to do.
Well,
or foolish, depending.
Or
We'll see how it goes, you know.
that's true. You know, courage and stupidity is a thin line, you know?
Anyway, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen soon. We mentioned album covers. Now, the new CD, Steely Dan, Alive in America. Now, what it looks like to me, it looks like it's Frankenstein, but carrying Fay Wray.
Incorrect.
Got that one wrong. It's
See, I think maybe actually, you know, we took it for granted that people would realize that this is actually Karis the Mummy, who was in a lot of mummy pictures that Universal made in the
there might be 2 or 3.
30s, yeah. But the idea is that, Karis was in quest of his princess Ananka. And so it's Karis, the Egyptian mummy come back to life.
Can we go rent 1 or 2 of these mummy movies and see this guy?
Well, we could summarize it by saying that he was coming back from the dead and coming away with the girl.
Oh,
you know what I
see
mean?
some symbolism
Simple
there.
as that.
Back from the dead.
Yes.
In other words,
it all begins to make
in other
sense.
words, it's resurrection is the theme here.
It's all coming into focus.
Resurrection, and see, I see it's on 2 levels, right?
Yeah,
it's
gotcha.
Like you got your, the fact that, sort of what it's like to be alive in America, on one hand, and on the other hand, specifically, regarding us, it's, like after 20 years, most people thought we were dead, and like now we're
resurrected.
now we're coming back all awesome and everything, getting a girl and everything.
That's really great cover. Too bad it's not a big LP, so it could be a big picture. It's only a little picture because it's a CD. Now, speaking of album covers,
CDs are much smaller than vinyl records.
They are? Oh, that's why the pictures are smaller.
That's it.
Never got that before either, guys. Speaking about album covers, I know I'm going to offend you here, but I have to say this because I've been saying this on the radio for years. But the album cover of your first album, Can't Buy a Thrill, is the worst album cover ever made.
Well,
that's what we were shooting for.
Could I have some? Thank you.
That's what we told them when they showed it to us. We, of course, many more albums have been made since then, and it's still the worst album cover. So
absolutely,
it's an even greater distinction now than it was.
Well, I'm
then.
glad I didn't offend you.
In fact, as I remember, we had this picture we found of these French prostitutes, up on the street, and.
Like in Montmartre.
Yeah, we didn't have the rights to it though, so then they had to change it,
And that's what they did.
Yeah, and so they all grotted it all up,
Anyway, back to Alive in America, the CD that was released today. Another great song. This is Josie from Alive in America. We'll be back with Steely Dan live on stage. from Steely Dan's Alive in America, the CD that was released in stores today. And don't you go away, because the Steely Dan Alive in America radio special will continue on the Album Network after this. Everybody from Manhattan Center Studios here in New York City, I'm Dave Herman with Steely Dan Alive in America, the radio special. We're here with Walter Becker and Donald Fagen. And in just about 5 minutes, they, together with the Steely Dan Millennium All-Stars, will take to this stage and blow your socks off, basically. Now, guys,
Well, that remains to be seen.
well, it remains. Yeah, but I have I have complete confidence.
Thank you.
There's the set you're going to do on the national broadcast tonight. Then you're on David Letterman on Friday night.
Friday.
Then you do 2 gigs at Roseland here in New York City. And then that's it. This is the shortest tour in the history of recorded and live music.
It's a tour of Midtown Manhattan.
That's right. Basically.
The west side of Midtown Manhattan.
And you are working your way slowly uptown, you realize. So, and that's it. And then what?
Then we, go back to our wives and children.
And have you guys been writing at all?
No, but that's the next thing we're going to do is write some songs. Yeah, write.
That is incredible news. That's great news.
I hope.
And does that mean that if you like the way the songs work out, you'll record them?
I hadn't thought of that, but that's a good idea.
Yeah, maybe we should record.
Otherwise, what's the point of writing them?
You're right about that. We should record them.
So you write some songs, and then if you like them, you record them, and then maybe by this time next year, we have another Steely Dan studio album.
Or maybe we should just publish the sheet music. What do you think? Like in the, in the late 19th century, you know?
It'd be more interactive that way, you know? People have to play the songs themselves. And
Yeah, you
sing them.
actually could just put them all on the internet, and people can download them.
Yeah, they can download them.
That would be something. That would probably be an interesting thing for Steely Dan to do. At any rate, let's get on with the show here. And one of the nice things about seeing Steely Dan live, for the very, very few people really who've been able to do that over the years, people wear it as a special badge of honor, you know. And before you went out in 1993, it was a larger badge of honor. I saw Steely Dan. You did? Where? When? One of the nice things about the band live is that you don't play the song. I mean, it doesn't sound like you're there playing the record, you know, like note for note. Things get rearranged and reworked.
That's funny because we're trying to play like the record. And I'm just kidding.
I know you are. But after listening to Steely Dan Alive in America, it appears that Reelin' in the Years got reworked a little more than the others. Am I right on that? Would you agree?
Yeah, Reeling in the Years got a little harmonic adjustment.
Renovation.
Renovation. It was renovated.
I think when people buy this album, this CD, and listen to Reelin' in the Years, they're going to have I hope they have as good experience listening to as I did. I just love this track. Let's all listen to it. Reelin' in the Years, Steely Dan from Alive in America.
Green earrings. Thank you. Thanks very much. That featured Walter Becker, Drew Zingg. Which of the tenor players played on that one? Cornelius Bumpus. What a guy. Okay, Babylon Sisters. Cautionary tale for the youth of America. Featured Bob Shepard on tenor saxophone. Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate
Steely
it.
Dan. Walter Becker. Donald Fagen. Steely Dan Millennium All-Stars. Live in New York City. Want to hear some more? Tell you what, give us just a couple of minutes and we'll be right back with Steely Dan on the Album Network. And we got a room full of dancing fools here. Once again, Steely Dan.
Hey, I'd like to thank you. Just like to very quickly introduce our super fine band to you. On drums, Mr. Peter Erskine. On bass, Tom Barney. On guitar, Mr. Drew Zingg. Our saxophone section, Cornelius Bumpus, Bob Shepard, and Chris Potter. On piano, Mr. John Beasley. In the back on vibraphone percussion, Mr. Bill Ware. Did I say Tom Barney on bass? I forget. Who did I miss? And the girls? Our wonderful backup singers who have left the stage are Diane Garisto, Catherine Russell, and Brenda White King. So let's have a big hand for the band. We're going to do a tune. This is kind of a fun thing. We didn't write it, actually, but
Yes, we did.
Walter wants me to tell you we did write it. But the fact is, we didn't write it, but it's associated with us for a few years, and it's a little thing called East St. Louis Toodle-oo by Duke Ellington, featuring Walter Becker on guitar, Bill Ware on vibes, and John Beasley on guitar, on piano. Thank you and good night.
Let's hear it for Steely Dan, Walter Becker, Donald Fagen, the Steely Dan Orchestra. Thank y'all so much for coming. Everybody at home for listening. Remember, you can see Steely Dan on David Letterman Friday night. The CD Alive in America, released today. I'm Dave Herman. It's been a pleasure being able to bring this to you on the Album Network.